One of the most valuable things that I've learned in training my specific discipline is that I absolutely hate to meal prep. Being a combat sport athlete makes life extremely difficult. Balancing a full-time job, a significant other, maybe you have kids, maybe you are taking a bunch of classes, maybe you're in school. And when you have to throw meal prep into the mix, it makes life pretty much impossible. I understand that meal prepping on a Sunday can save you a ton of time during the week. If you're training 5 days a week, it's easy to just go into the fridge and heat up the meal that you made. Are you really going to want to be eating the same thing 5 days in a row? The overall quality of the food and the freshness is going to plummet. And protein specifically, it's going to lose its freshness even after a day in the fridge. So the point being, the same food every single day is not realistic, and it's not going to set yourself up for long-term success. One of my go-to post-training meals is a steak on the grill. If you make a steak on the grill after training and you focus on just that one thing that you have to make, maybe that one piece of protein, you have a bunch of rice in the fridge, you have pasta, you might have some mixed greens, veggies. You can throw everything together in a bowl, but you have that fresh piece of steak that you can just mix in. Fresh protein, in my opinion, outweighs side dishes. To truly be a well-rounded martial artist, it requires getting good with your nutrition, which in turn means getting better in the kitchen. And I've learned a ton over the years, and I hope to share everything that I've learned in the kitchen with all of you. So if you're finding me for the first time, I make kitchen and cooking videos for busy combat sport athletes. If you train in Muay Thai like I do, or maybe you train in kickboxing, maybe you're a boxer, BJJ, judo, whatever it is that you do. Hope these meals help all of you. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make the perfect steak on the grill, fast and easy. It's gonna elevate your meal planning and take your training to the next level. So let's go through everything that you're gonna need first. You're gonna need a dish like this. You're gonna put the steak in here after you're done cooking it on the grill, and it's really important to make sure that you let your steak rest. So it's gonna sit in here and you're gonna cover it with foil. So foil, you're also gonna need a couple of sheets like that. I found this pre-packaged steak from Pineland Farms. This is a strip loin steak. You can either go to your butcher counter and get a bunch of New York strips, or you can get really whatever is on sale, but I like a strip loin steak like this. You're also gonna need a little bit of cooking oil. It's a little bit strange, but it's called Algae cooking oil. The thing with this specific cooking oil is it has an extremely high smoke point. If you were to make a steak, say in the winter, on the cast iron skillet or in a pan, this is going to be extremely important for that, so that way you don't have that smoke kind of fly up in your kitchen and the smoke detector goes off. But we're going to use just a little bit amount of cooking oil on the steak for the grill outside. I have this pepper grinder. It's an electric pepper grinder. Actually, it really helps me out a lot because I can just press this button right here and you season your steak, and you don't have to get your hands dirty trying to crank the pepper grinder. So if you can find an electric pepper grinder, all you gotta do is put the peppercorns in here and you kind of have them all set up for you. You can just press that button and you put them over your steak. You're also gonna need some kosher salt. You want them to be coarse, and you're gonna drizzle that on your steak and you're gonna season it so that way each piece of the meat is seasoned. So what I actually did ahead of time is I have a little trick. So if you can see here, I put a steak in the fridge already, and what putting a steak in the fridge the night before does is it draws out all of the moisture in the steak, so that way you get an extremely perfect crust on the steak itself when you put it on the grill. You're also gonna need some paper towels to dry the steak. So get a couple of paper towels and just have them ready. A couple of sheets. I kind of took a lot here, but that's okay. You're probably gonna need them. Get your steak like this. So there's a little bit of moisture on it. So take a paper towel and really pat it dry. Get all sides. Now get some salt. That's a lot of salt there. I don't know if you're gonna need this entire amount, but just have this in your hand and you can kind of sprinkle it on. So I'll show you. You're gonna do like this. And it's cool because this plate, all of the seasoning that you're putting on top right here, it will fall off to the sides. You're gonna kind of dust it up here in a second. So you do both sides, flip it over, get more salt. And don't be afraid to season it, because when you cut the steak into slices, everything inside the steak doesn't get seasoned. So you might think that this is a lot of salt, but it's actually gonna end up being perfect. Okay, next we have our pepper grinder. Just press the button. Get it all over the steak. Kind of push it in to make sure all of the peppercorns kind of seep into the meat. Flip it over. I'll push it in here. And this is what I was saying, so don't forget the sides. Dust up all of the seasoning that fell off. I kind of just push it back into like a nice little form so that way it's not spread out too much. I kind of thicken it up like that. And now take your cooking oil and you're gonna do just a small amount. This is really like a half tablespoon. Okay. Kind of just rub that in. Don't rub off the seasoning, kind of just pat it so that way it's nice and covered. Do a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Don't do too much, but that's all right. Just keep going. Kind of flip it over, flip it all around. So then you're gonna pop this on the grill here in a second. All right, now we're outside here and it is 95 degrees here today. I think we're going through a little bit of a heat wave, but that's okay. So what we need to do is we need to get our grill set up. So this is the grill I have. It is a Weber grill. These aren't that expensive. Investing in one is definitely worth the money. There's a couple little settings here. Has a built-in thermometer. Has a couple of little sections. It is a propane grill. So what we're gonna do is we need to unscrew the lock on the propane, and this is gonna make sure that the propane goes all the way through and heats up our grill. I'm gonna show you the grill grates here. So as you can see, there's some stuff on the grill. I was making stuff last night, and I do recognize I need to clean this area right here. But this is a griddle built in. You can get the little inserts at any sort of Home Depot, Lowe's, home improvement type store. I like having the grates on one side and a skillet on the other, so you can do different things. You can even make eggs on this. So what we're gonna do to start is we need to flip this on. So you turn the propane on like that, and you're gonna press this button and you're gonna hear it here in a second. There we go. And then you flip those on right here, 1 and 2. Press this button again. And now each section of the grill has the flames coming out. So we're gonna let this get heated up. As our grill heats up here, just kind of wanted to discuss the difference between cooking a steak on the grill versus on a cast iron skillet or a stainless steel pan. So when you cook a steak on a cast iron skillet or a stainless steel pan, you get an even sear. So all the juices kind of get retained in the sear itself. But a grill obviously is very different because you have the grill grates and the juices kind of run down and it doesn't kind of soak up into the steak itself. So it's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's a drier steak, but it's just a little bit of a different cooking process. So we have a specific time that we're gonna need to cook this steak for. I would say you do probably about like 4 minutes per side, and I rotate the steak as well. So you're gonna see that here in a second, but you're gonna do like 4.5 minutes per side, and that will make sure that you get a medium rare to slightly medium steak, and that's just how I like it. If you want it to be rare, you really do about 4 minutes per side, maybe a little less than that, maybe like 3.5 minutes per side if you want it really rare. Also, listen, I'm not a chef. I'm just a busy combat sport athlete who just loves to cook, and I'm focused on my nutrition. So I just picked up a ton of cooking tips and tricks along the way. You don't need to be an expert, just kind of be mindful about the things that you're doing, and you'll get better at it, just like you get better at any sort of sport that you train. Don't get discouraged, watch videos, look up certain chefs and emulate them, copy them. That's what I do. If I see something good and I'm like, oh, that looks healthy, I want to implement that into my diet or my recipe plan, I do that. So let's see if our grill is heated up. So what you need to do is you need to wait until your grill is about 450 to 500. And you can kind of adjust the knobs here a little bit lower, but you want it to be hovering around that 450 mark right there. I feel like I gotta be really careful with this camera here too, because this grill is extremely hot and it's like 90 degrees outside. So I'm gonna try to do this fast for you guys. And what I'm doing here is you're gonna take a brush like this. Usually comes with your grill, but you can find these in Home Depot or anywhere else. You want to scrape off the debris from the last time you cooked. So when I typically put a steak on the grill, or really anything on the grill, I let what is left from the food that I'm cooking, I let it stay here, and then the next time I cook, the heat kind of releases all of it and for the next time, and then I scrape it off. So I'm scraping it off right now. Make sure your grill grates are nice and clean. Okay. Whew. Yeah, it is. It's toasty out here. All right, so we're ready to start cooking our steak here. Let's get this on the grill. Get your tongs like this. These are the tongs I use. Get your steak. You're gonna put it exactly like this. Press it down a little bit to make sure it gets full contact with the grill. And you're gonna let this sit here for like 3 minutes. So like I said, just make sure that it's not hovering too high over that 500. So you can kind of turn these down a bit. And these three really align with the sections of the grill. I turn all 3 of them on so that way the whole grill gets heated up. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, and what you're gonna do is, this is a specific way that I flip my steaks. So you're gonna see how it's kind of diagonal like this against the grill grates. Flip it over one more time like that. We're getting a nice sear already. So steak itself is power packed with protein, but that's kind of obvious. Ton of B12, good healthy fats in a steak that you need when your energy resources are depleted after tough training. What's also really interesting about steak is it contains a ton of natural creatine. I take creatine, I've been taking creatine to pair with my protein shakes for, I don't know, like 15 years at this point. So it's good to have an extra source of a little bit more creatine in the steak itself. You know, the thing is, don't eat steak every single day. I think my philosophy is just everything in moderation. Yeah, that also means Oreos. I love Oreos, so I eat Oreos every now and then, but I don't eat them every single night. So I think nutrition and health is, like I said, it's really just about not eating too much of one thing every single day. So with making this steak, it's perfect for maybe 1-2 nights a week. Okay, so it's been another 3 minutes. So I'm gonna show you the trick that I do to get the cross section on the grill marks on your steak. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip it back over but you're gonna flip it like this. So the other direction. Get a nice connection with those grill grates. So I'm gonna wait another 3 minutes. It's also great too to have a towel handy. I usually throw this kind of thing over my shoulder and you just wipe your hands. It's kind of a easy way to wipe your hands off. So always have a towel on your shoulder. Okay, it's been another 3 minutes. This is the last flip that we're gonna do. So our steak's looking pretty solid right now. So you're gonna flip this one more time. See that nice cross section that you have? It's gonna be on both sides now. Another 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna move this over to this side. We're gonna put our steak into here, and we're gonna get our foil now. Get a sheet maybe like this. And you wanna put the shiny side facing the meat. So we're gonna put it down like this. Okay, what I'm doing here is another little trick that I have. So I am cooking the fat cap a little bit. So I flipped it. It's been 3 minutes. I think it's pretty much done. So you can kind of use your hand and just get a full connection with that fat cap. So that way the fat renders out a bit. So that way it's not too tough when you're eating it. So if you can see here, kind of do like that, maybe about a minute. Doesn't take too long. Okay, so I think we're about done cooking our steak. So we are gonna put it right in here, and we are gonna let this rest, and you're gonna cover it. Let me show you the steak. Here's how it looks. And you can kind of push it with your finger. I think it's a little bit, oh, that's really nicely seasoned. But it's probably closer to medium. I mean, that's all right. Just cover it. So actually another really cool thing you can do is you can put a little bit of rosemary or thyme, a little bit of butter on the steak as it's resting, and that'll give you a nice earthy sort of steak if that's the kind of steak that you want. Or maybe you want a really garlicky steak, you can pour some garlic powder on. I do it this way so that depending on the meal that I'm making, if I'm putting it into like an Asian rice bowl or something like that, I'll put different seasonings on, and sometimes maybe I just want it exactly like this, which is what we're doing here. So right now it's resting. We're gonna see how it's doing. Like I said, wait about 10 minutes until all of the juices are absorbed into the steak. Because if you cut it too early, all of the juices are gonna release out of the steak. So again, it's really important to make sure that you let it rest. Just hang out, chill out, and it'll be ready in a second. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. That's amazing. Wow. So good. Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks again for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If you made it this far and you found this helpful and you learned something, if you wouldn't mind giving me a like and hitting subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'll be back with more cooking videos. I'll try to get another video out next week. I'm traveling, so I'm gonna do my best. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.